Hi, welcome back to Into Deep, a podcast with me, Alyssa. In this podcast, we go a little too deep into everything feminism, from pop culture to Tumblr to Zoella and Pointless Blog. In this episode, we have a special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm Victoria. Been friends with Alyssa since 2016.
What the hell, 15?
Is it 15? I don't know when we finished school.
We started school in 2015.
Okay, since 2015. Damn, that's a long time.
Well, yes. So in this episode, we're talking about being raised by the internet and being chronically online since we were, for me, since year 3. And for you, since when?
Probably like, year 5, year 6.
But we feel like it had a positive impact on us in terms of political leanings and our ideologies.
Yeah, just knowledge of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually don't understand how people don't know what's happening in the world. My sister said that she has friends. I mean, she's 29, so it makes sense. But she has friends who don't know who Gracie Abrams are.
Oh.
Gracie Abrams are. Gracie Abrams is. But it's how do you know things that are happening in the world if you don't know who Gracie Abrams is? I feel like they're without knowing that, how do you know other things?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got introduced to social media and internet pop culture really early. We both have older siblings, and I feel like that affects how much you know about the internet at a young age. Sometimes I talk about things with people the same age as me, and they don't know anything pre 2005.
Yeah. Yep.
Whereas we're we have knowledge of that time even if we weren't alive.
Yeah.
/ we were 3.
Yeah.
I grew up very wary of everything on the internet. My mom would always be do not talk to anyone on the internet. Even though I had access to it with Club Penguin and what was the other one with the
Moshi
monsters?
Monsters.
Moshi Monsters.
That was a good
What
one.
was your monster?
The cat.
The
Katsuki.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like a rabbit, but maybe.
No, I know what you mean.
It was
It was Japanese.
Yeah.
Wow, representation matters. Mine was the cute one.
The round one.
Yeah, it looked like a little bear. Yeah, the pink one.
The pink one. Yeah, that was my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Club Penguin as well. I was not allowed to talk to anyone on Club Penguin. I thought my mum was gonna kill me if I talked to someone on Club Penguin. So I never talked to anyone. Also, my Club Penguin app was Green Jeans 85.
Oh, I think mine was the same on both accounts, but it was just Vic and 3 numbers.
Yeah, I was
never
scared
a
to
full
put
name.
any inkling of my name in it.
What did I have? Wee World. That's
Wee World?
That's an internet deep dive.
What the hell is Wee World?
It's crazy. WEE World. And you were just a cartoon person. It was very 2D.
I don't remember that ever existing.
I don't know how me and my sister stumbled onto that, but I had a fake name for that, and my name was Amanda Idol. So if you were ever friends with me on WeWorld, guys, that was me.
That was Victoria. My favorite was Webkins.
See, I didn't have that.
Yeah, no, it was so good. And I tried to log into it recently because I had the craziest house.
Was your account disabled?
I used to force my mum to buy me the real life Webkins.
See, no, we were never allowed any of those Club Penguin memberships.
No, I had Club Penguin, I had Moshi Monsters.
Oh no.
I had Webkins.
No.
I had every membership.
I was that free. I was playing with No Diamonds episode player.
No, I don't know why my parents let me have a membership to every online game possible. But Webkins was you had to buy the physical doll.
Yeah, no, I
And there was also a Littlest Pet Shop game. Online game that you had to buy.
I think I played the game, but I had a lot of pet shops.
No, but it was the big plushy ones.
Yeah, I didn't have those.
Anyway, that has literally nothing to do with what we were talking about. In regards to social media, I had Instagram from year 3, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But honestly, back then, I didn't think like Instagram was unsafe or anything because no one could like find your profile. And there wasn't like weird like bots
or
anything.
Definitely no bots.
And when I had Instagram, the only thing I would post was like Winnie the Pooh, like nature photos.
Yeah, just like PNGs.
Yeah, like pictures I found on Google. And I'd be like, this is sick. And it's like a mountain. And then I also would post like, I remember I posted a mirror selfie of me and my friends.
Damn.
Because we were making fun of a guy in our year that posted the same thing. And it was like a black and white filter. Like that's what I used to post. But it was like okay to be on Instagram then because the explore page was like just
non-existent kind of.
Yeah, but when you went onto it, it was like photography.
Yeah.
Because Instagram was still like photography.
Yeah.
And like silly animal pictures. Yeah. Like a pig in rain boots. Like that's what it would be. Now, if you start a new Instagram account, like you can test this out. I feel like this will happen with any account. Like you start a new account and you go into the explore page and everything is porn.
Oh.
Like every single reel.
I guess it's because like they have so many like interactions. So like if you don't have any algorithms set, Instagram must be like, oh, you must like this.
Everyone would love this.
You'd love it.
No, yeah. Which is also crazy that everyone's just, the only thing they interact with is like porn. And it's always like girls like at the gym or something who have OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like pretending that they're not doing anything like sexual at the gym, but they very clearly are. And then it like has a link to their OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. That's a really good explore.
Yeah. Wow.
Or it's that, or it's people dying, or like animals like dying. I'm like, why would I want to see this? I open Instagram for the first time and that's what I say.
That's exactly what I want to see, actually.
Yes, that's it. That's what I downloaded the photo posting app for. I don't think I got into actual internet culture until like year 5. But in year 5, yeah, I wrote this. I was too scared to have an actual YouTube account because it said like 13 plus. So I was like, oh my God, they're going to arrest me. So I couldn't make an actual account. So I would just look up my favorite YouTubers every day to see if they'd posted. And like, do you know Paint? Like, I think his name's John Cozart.
It sounds familiar.
He made those like Disney songs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He's like
the parodies.
Guy.
Yeah. I think I watched those videos like on repeat for a year. That's like what I used to watch on YouTube, which is appropriate.
Yeah, he was kind of like so progressive in all of his songs, like.
And it was okay for me to be on YouTube at that point because I watched him and I watched Life Simmer, who made Sims playthroughs.
Yeah.
All appropriate for children.
Yeah.
What do kids watch these days? Because I thought it was just like Mr. Beast and Fortnite, but I don't know if that's like...
Well, I recently visited my little cousins who were like 10 to 12. Mm-hmm. And it's just like... It wasn't bad content, but it was just like so brain rotty. Like it was just
the thing.
AI, like the voice AI of like... I think they were watching like a medical thing, which is... Context, they're in Singapore, so like maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like
they're starting early.
The AI voice just it's like the man that has that really deep voice.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
It's so creepy.
And it's just like they're learning nothing.
Yeah.
It's not creative either because it's just made with a computer. And it's like all those like baby sensory videos.
Oh my gosh, they watch Man. Like seriously, like unironically. I was like just watch a TV show at that point.
No, that's the thing, like you could just watch a TV show because it's like YouTube was for like people to like make videos in their brain. Why are you like trying to get like actual entertainment out of this because it's gonna suck.
Yeah, but that's what kids these days are watching.
Wow, that's a news report. Kids these days are watching Man.
Yeah.
Year 7, I had Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Wattpad, YouTube, Twitch, Snapchat. Everything happened in year 7. But I also was still scared of making a Tumblr because it was 18 plus. And every time you'd go to make an account, it'd be like, hang on, are you 18? And I was like, oh, like I'm not. I'm actually not.
Terms and conditions.
But I would only use it to look up Dan and Phil
like
content.
GIFs.
Yeah, like GIFs and like
that was the place for
clips from their videos, which like, why didn't I not just watch their videos? I don't know. And then, so I would just go on Tumblr and then I would look up like hashtag Dan and Phil and then would just scroll through that.
Yeah.
But I never made an account because I was too scared.
Yeah.
Also, we both watched like the same kind of YouTubers at that time.
Oh, for sure. I feel like there was only like 3 YouTubers.
And it was just the British YouTubers then, Casper Lee, Troy Sivan,
Tyler Oakley.
Joey Graceffa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then the British people.
Yeah, and then the British people. But yeah, mine was pretty similar. I just have an older sister, but I'm pretty sure she like peer pressured me to get Instagram because I think she wanted me to like follow her. So yeah, I was in year 6, so 11. I think literally the only social media I had before then was Kik, which is insane.
No. There was like a Kik epidemic at my school, and then we realized there were pedophiles on that app just constantly.
And like the fact that it's still a thing now and they like refuse to give any data to like police or like any investigations is crazy work. But luckily I just had a group chat with friends. Like,
yeah, same.
I wasn't messaged by any weird men.
Any pedophiles.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But then I had Tumblr in 2015. That is actually the scariest thing. You could search up like trees and there'd be just like straight up porn. Like,
oh yeah, every time I looked up Dan and Phil, there would be like porn. I was like, bruh,
like unrelated.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Crazy. And like, kind of to be fair, because it was 18 plus, but I didn't care.
Yeah, I was only on there for like fandom.
Yeah.
Things.
And then Twitter in 2016 when I was really into my fandoms.
Yeah.
And that still was good because Elon Musk hadn't.
Yeah, Twitter was good up until like 2020.
Yeah, I would say so. But yeah, similar. I did have a YouTube account though. Or maybe I just used my parents, but it wasn't
So
it wasn't locked or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I was 16 when I just randomly met up with some internet friends from Twitter by myself in a different country.
But that was Singapore though, so like...
Yeah, I wouldn't do that in like any other country.
Oh yeah, no.
And I fully just... I don't know how I just sleuthed my way into making sure they weren't like a 50-year-old man.
Yeah, I feel like it is kind of easy to tell though.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a group, like, well, they're not going to all be 50-year-olds.
Yeah, there was like a big group of us. I think there was probably like 10 of us, so...
Yeah. I remember being in like group chats and stuff as well, but like I never made any friends. Yeah. Actually, I made like one friend.
Yeah.
But like that was through BTS.
Oh.
So that's you. And Erica as well. I mean, technically we met through
she's
BTS.
technically an internet friend.
But also my first actual fan account was for the Sidemen.
That's crazy.
Because I never had a Dan and Phil one.
Yeah. My Twitter was a fan account for 5 Seconds of Summer.
But you had that for like years.
It's real. It's evolved now, but that was my gateway to fandom culture, I think.
Mm-hmm. And leading on from that, being fans of like so many musicians means we also go to heaps of concerts. And the thing with like social media nowadays, it's like completely changed concert culture as well.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
I feel like even just with TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's TikTok mostly.
Yeah.
Like people want to get to the front to get a video for TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And they don't know like any of the songs.
Yeah.
Like when we were lining up for 21 Pilots in like 2017.
18, 17? Around
I think
then.
I went both years.
Yeah. No, I
think it was 2016, 2018.
It must have been.
But I also went another time. I've seen them 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah.
What would have been the third time?
2017. Did they come 3 years in a row?
Maybe.
Yeah, potentially. Anyway, like the people in the line were like diehard fans.
Yeah. But it made it so fun. Like,
yeah, because everyone around you knew the songs and like people were less likely to be like pushy.
Yeah, because everyone was nice.
Because you knew that everyone had lined up for a certain amount of time. So you're not going to push to the front when you're already in a place where you lined up for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we saw Charlie XCX yesterday.
Never again. Just...
That's actually, concerts are still like all right. It's festivals that are
That's the thing. I was like, well, that was my first festival.
First and last.
Yeah, first and last. Full stop. I would much rather just queue up for the 10 hours outside and go to a concert for like 2 hours than to ever do a festival ever again.
Yeah, and Charlie XCX just attracts the worst crowds ever.
Oh.
The worst crowd I've ever been in was the year before, I think, when I saw her. And I almost died. Like, I had to do that thing, you know, like...
for your chest?
You have to, like, do a cross over your chest to make sure you don't get crowd crushed.
Like,
and I think I only knew that because of, like...
The Korean.
Yes, because of that thing. And then I saw safety videos about crowds. And I was like, oh my God, I actually need to employ my crowd safety tips. And yeah, I couldn't breathe. Like I had to like put my head up to like be able to get air. And then this guy comes from behind and he's like pushing so hard. He's like 6 foot something. And he's like, my friend's at the front. Oh, my friend's at the front. And like, he's obviously kidding. Like he's making a joke about people who say my friend's at the front.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, my dog is at the front. And he's pushing. And I literally had to like scream at him because people were like falling over and couldn't breathe. And he's like continuously pushing. And I was like, what the hell? And then the same thing happened yesterday. Why is there a man?
It's always a man.
No, because even with women, even if they're pushing you, usually they're there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like they actually know the songs.
Especially if they're by
typically.
themselves.
Yeah.
And not like in a group conga line trying to get to the front.
Oh my God.
Which surprisingly we didn't have that many of. I think there was just maybe one. But I feel like people were just conga lining to leave.
I don't think anyone could get in, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I think it was that bad that no one would have been able to do that.
That checks out.
Yeah. But yeah, this man yesterday, I think that's potentially my worst experience in a crowd ever.
Yeah.
And I've had some pretty bad experiences.
Yeah.
He...
Fake fan.
Oh, first of all, fake fan.
First of all,
fake fan. Pretty much everyone at the front was a fake fan. Also, the problem with festivals, people get to the barricade 10 hours early, don't know any of the other artists, and then just sit there on their phones.
Yeah.
Imagine being the artist up there, like, singing, and everyone's just, like, not paying attention to you because they're only there for the last artist.
No, like, I'd kill myself.
Yeah. Like,
Never
it's
come
just
back to
so
Perth.
evil. At least if you're getting to the barricade, like, you should learn all the other artists.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that's
if
what I
you're
would do.
lining up for 10 hours to see someone, you have some time beforehand to
Yeah.
learn a couple songs. You
And
don't
it
have to
also
learn everything.
would make it more entertaining. Like,
Yeah.
otherwise you're just standing there bored.
In the sun too.
Yeah.
You're a bit crazy for that.
Anyway, this man takes his shirt off and I was like, are you actually kidding me right now? Like, because he was standing right next to Erica and he was already sweating so much and he was like, oh, it's too hot, can't keep my shirt on. Meanwhile, it's a tank top.
It was a cotton singlet that was loose.
Whether you have that on or not does not
Doesn't make
affect
sense.
how hot you are. And I'm like, put your shirt back on. And he's like, no one's stopping you from taking yours off.
Well, yes, there are people.
Actually, there are people, like the police,
Yeah.
for
like laws.
indecency.
Yeah.
And also, if I took my shirt off in a crowd, I would get sexually harassed.
Yeah.
So there are other things stopping me, actually. And then, like, I was standing next to you. He randomly starts, like pinned me into you with his
And-
entire body weight.
Yeah, there were... I don't know what was happening next to me, but all of a sudden there was, like, no space next to me as well.
Yeah.
So, like, that was happening, and this girl that was on something was pushing onto me.
Not even mentioning that. I'm like-
Yeah, no, it was awful. But, yeah, I think shirts off in any setting.
Put it back on.
Yeah.
Are you swimming? No. Then shirt on.
Are you in your house? No.
Yeah. So shirt on, please.
Yeah.
I've never had that much male sweat on me.
Oh, it was awful. And
It was like he was pouring multiple bottles of water on me.
No.
And it was just sweat.
Ew.
This is not the sweat tour.
No, it's not.
And then last, like, 4 songs are songs that aren't from Brat, her most recent album. He's standing there completely still.
Stop.
Silent. Doesn't know any of these songs, death staring me when I'm singing along, and then leaves.
Yeah, like, if you want to be annoying, like, at least be a fan. Like,
Literally, like, I understand pushing your way to the front if you are, like, a diehard fan.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not even doing that, and I knew every single song.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Anyway, we've digressed from... It's going to be, like, the longest episode yet.
Yes. A mix of everything, guys.
Yeah, you found this Substack essay about
Fandom culture.
misogyny in fandom
Yeah.
culture, particularly.
It was an interesting read. I think it's been a conversation for a while, but I think specifically because fandom culture is predominantly young girls, or I guess it's predominantly young girls that, like, have the accounts and, like, make the most noise.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have to be majority, but I think it started as early as Beatlemania, big one.
Shout out the Beatles.
Shout out.
I hate all of them. Yeah.
But yeah, women were essentially called hysterical, which always has been historically a gendered term towards women, which sucks, but
yeah, it was like a medical.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even talk about like medicine pre.
Oh, it was awful. Even now, it's like...
No, even now, but like pre-2000, I'm like, what were they doing?
Yeah. But yeah, female hysteria was one of the most commonly diagnosed disorders in the 18th and 19th centuries. And symptoms included anxiety, emotional outbursts, fainting, sexual desire or lack of, and insomnia. At the time, was thought to be caused by sexual deprivation.
And then the way they treated it was just by...
locking you up.
No, giving women orgasms.
Oh, that's true.
Haven't you? I feel like everyone's heard about that. I'm like, okay, well, that's not helping anyone, actually. Yeah. Meanwhile, she has like an anxiety disorder and depression because her husband probably hates her and she just does all this domestic labor.
Yeah.
And they're like, she needs to have sex.
Yeah.
What the...
That reminded me of Elvis though, low-key. All that above stuff.
What about Elvis?
Just like his, what was his fans called? I never watched any.
Elvis's.
The Elvi.
The Elvi. No, I'm never watching anything Elvis related.
No, I didn't even watch Priscilla.
I'm sorry, I don't care.
I am on Priscilla's side though.
Obviously, but like I don't want to see it or hear about it.
No.
It scares me.
But yeah, the same thing with One Direction. Young girls were labelled as rabid, obsessive, and dangerous, which is extremely hypocritical considering One Direction fans literally never caused any damage.
Like property damage.
Yeah. Compared to literally all the news and videos of Eagles fans and what they did in Philadelphia last week during the Super Bowl when they literally won.
Why are you destroying, breaking windows when your team won?
Crazy.
Hello. And that happens every Super Bowl.
Yeah, whether you win or lose.
No, they just destroy cities. Normal? I'm like,
who's paying for this?
When did a BTS fan destroy a city? Like, seriously. Also with One Direction, I think the fans were encouraged to be like that.
Oh, 100%. Because marketing and everything.
Yeah, because of like how they were marketed. And One Direction should have been protected from that. Like being stalked and things like that. But they didn't because they knew that it was good for like money and marketing them further.
I just still can't get over that airport hacking of the CCTV cameras.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Like, probably the worst fans that there's ever been.
Yeah.
There's nothing that compares to like how bad One Direction fans were. And like, clearly, considering how one of the members turned out.
Yeah.
Moment of silence. Another like fandom extremism that received so much backlash and misogyny was Twilight. Twilight era was like crazy. Also, we were like 7, so I don't really remember this.
Yeah.
But like, I guess you could have valid criticisms to the books or the movies, mainly due to the fact that they're just based in Mormonism.
Yeah.
I would say that's the most valid criticism.
Yeah.
But honestly, neither the books or the movies are that bad.
No, definitely from like
objectively
the time as well.
Yeah, objectively both entertaining. And the books weren't badly written or anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're like a literary classic, but
no, but like that's the thing.
Fiction
like
book.
The amount of hate that it got, and especially misogyny, when like it wasn't even that crazily bad.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about before the Star Wars fandom, but
oh my God, I don't have that much research on it.
Yeah.
But every single thing I've ever seen about it on the internet, horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
Star Wars and Marvel, scary, man.
Yeah.
Scary. Like when everyone hated Brie Larson, I think even I hated her. And I wasn't a Marvel fan and I didn't know anything about her, but I was like, oh, why are they casting a woman in this? Like,
that's
what
crazy.
The hell? And it was literally just because she was cast in a Marvel movie as Captain Marvel. And people didn't like having a woman in a movie because it's a male movie.
Yeah, and they like didn't sexualize her like outfit and they were mad.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
In terms of like fandomism,
yeah,
kind of like emerged in the 2010s mainly because of social media as well. But there's this article from Vice entitled The Strange Decade in Online Feminism, and it's regarding the 2010s and how they kind of evolved from the post-feminist era of the noughties, where feminism was made out to be no longer necessary. Meanwhile, like, reality TV shows were making women out to be awful, and women's magazines were still publishing pieces about like extremist diets and like how to please your man, how to find a husband. Like, obviously women's rights were not solved in the 2000s. But the issue with that was that feminism and advertising were not compatible, and there was a big pushback for anyone who tried to publish anything feminist online at the time. Like, people would start blogs and zines and things. In 2013, after the success of an online feminist blog, Vagenda, which I like that, there was an attempted relaunch of a radical feminist magazine from earlier on. But both of them couldn't last longer than a year due to an inability to take on advertisers. Firstly, because they were anti-consumerist, but also because no advertisers wanted to advertise in these feminist blogs, nor did they want them, because if it was like an advertiser that was aimed towards women, it was like Special K, weight loss cereal, and like Jenny Craig and things. And so they were like, well, we obviously don't want to take this on.
Yeah, feminism did begin making it in already established magazines, so ones that maybe weren't brought up
like
for feminism.
Yeah, like
it's
Cosmopolitan.
Just like integrated. And there was a criticism of white feminism being the only acceptable kind, which also tied into Tumblr feminism, which was stripped of any real political messaging.
In this article as well, they quote this black artist who was really active in the Tumblr feminist scene. I'm going to try and pronounce her name. Sessa Omoreji. She feels that the platform shaped feminist like discourse at the time. She said, since it was visual, a lot of the discourse and people contributing was done through aesthetics. Though users often assumed that she was white because she used a picture of the birth of Venus as her avatar, the movement's accomplishments were easily overlooked because of like the aestheticization of it. But it still is important because it allowed feminism to re-emerge. She said, at the end of the day, Tumblr feminism was the first time a lot of young women were thinking aloud out of their heads for the first time on a social platform. There's so much critique of young women doing anything. We weren't academics. We weren't trying to teach people anything. We were girls learning from each other. She remembers how people would write like feminist think pieces and research essays with citations, for example. So even if it wasn't like academic or anything, it was a place where women could connect with each other online, like allowed them to understand their shared experiences, even if it wasn't like real feminism or whatever.
Yeah.
But also at that time, because it wasn't real feminism based in any theory, identifying as a feminist, like every woman at that time was just like feminism, even if they were like conservative.
Yeah.
They had no knowledge of like what it actually was. They were just like, yeah, feminism.
And then during, I don't know when it started, 2017, when it like emerged.
Yeah, 2017.
But with the hashtag #MeToo movement, for example, it was a really big, like I wasn't even on the internet too much outside of like fandom content, but even then it was like a pretty big movement.
Yeah.
Because it revealed how delicate the balance was between those willing to believe stories they read and those wanting to cry foul because of what was alleged wasn't as bad as Harvey Weinstein or violent rape. In 2017, the hashtag originally started in 2006 by civil rights activist Tarana Burke to raise awareness of the pervasiveness of sexual assault dominated social media globally, even if it wasn't generally through a celebrity lens. So like people were coming out with like their own Me Too stories. Like,
yeah, but I feel like no one was really, like you were mainly only saying the celebrities, and it was like not necessarily that inclusive, but like, I don't know, I guess it made people see that it happened to celebrities as well. In the late 2010s, post Me Too movement, Andy Ziesler wrote in her book, We Were Feminists Once, the fight for gender equality has transmogrified I have never heard that word in my life. From a collective goal to a consumer brand. The latter half of the decade insisted that the act of purchasing itself was a feminist act. So for some reason, like, feminism was made to be something completely different.
Yeah.
And then women online who were identifying as feminists were like buying phone cases and key rings and things that said feminist, but didn't know anything about it or did not put any effort into actually educating themselves or educating other people. Like, feminism and capitalism are mutually exclusive because you can't have women's liberation while still being under capitalism. Like, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But instead, they were pushed together, like with girl boss and wellness influencers who started selling things for like, apple cider vinegar. Yeah. That would have been the same time as well, where people were like, oh, but you don't want to break down like a woman, like a CEO, like a female CEO, where it's like, it doesn't really matter because CEOs shouldn't exist anyway.
Yeah.
So realistically, like, the commodification of feminism was like a big issue in the 2010s as well. We found another article in the conversation by Brian E. Hannell titled "How Tumblr Raised a Generation of Feminists," and it quotes the report from 2019 about young women's feminism and activism. So by the end of the 2010s, reports indicated that the majority of young women identified as feminists, which differed a lot from the preceding decade, where people either just like didn't care about feminism or it was like
a bad thing to like call yourself feminist.
Yeah, people would be hostile towards you.
Yeah.
But then there's the question of like, were they really feminists or really knew what feminist meant, or was it the commodified and diluted form of online feminism from earlier?
But yeah, I think during 2015 to 2019, basically any time before the pandemic, which honestly signified like a big social movement in like a lot of topics.
Yeah.
But that's a discussion for another day. There was a really big push for feminism and other progressive ideologies, even if they were more liberal leaning. And social media became crucial to its revival and ushering in a supported fourth wave of feminism.
There was a shift away from like personal social media like Facebook, and I'm sure there were others as well like MySpace.
Oh, that was like completely
to more anonymous accounts like Tumblr and Twitter. There was a quote from this conversation article as well. Tumblr's anonymity made it feel safer for its marginalized users, inviting curiosity, experimentation, and openness in those important first encounters with feminism. So people like felt like they could say whatever they wanted and ask questions and things without being met with anger at the time, because they were anonymous, so it didn't even matter if like you embarrassed yourself or anything. In my experience as well, when I first got on Tumblr, because I was on like Dan and Phil Tumblr, so this is obviously pretty obvious, but there were so many people who were expressing like different gender presentations and sexualities, and I would see that at like age 12, when a lot of other people still had no knowledge or understanding of these concepts. Yeah. Like, people had no idea about like non-binary in 2015. There was no way. Very few people like at our school as well would have known what any of those things were.
Because that like wasn't in like any education, like health class or anything.
But it also wasn't on like mainstream social media either.
Yeah, definitely, because there wasn't like, I can't name a single famous person during that time. There probably was.
A single famous person at all. There was no one famous.
Tumblr's appeal as not only full of political and educational content, but it could, as we were speaking before about fandoms and stuff, play more into interest-based content, such as fan art and fan fiction, and just general pop culture passions. I don't really recall any big things. Like, I wasn't in the Supernatural fandom, but their pop culture passions were rampant on there. And like Doctor Who.
Yes, it was literally Dan and Phil, Doctor Who, Supernatural.
Yeah.
I saw it all the time, and it never convinced me to watch the show, but I did know about it. And then they used to ship those two characters. Yeah. And then in like the second last episode or something, they... Okay, wait, do you know about this?
Is it the meme that's like... Oh, it's like the two I don't know what their names are.
Dean and...
That's the brother. Did they ship the brothers?
No, I don't think so. Maybe. That would be crazy.
There's probably a section of the internet that does.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But no, there was two guys. Are you thinking of Vampire Diaries?
No.
Oh, okay. There was two guys that they used to get shipped together, and in like the ending of the season, it turned out that they were actually in love with each other. But there was some weird like homophobia and like
one of them died.
Yeah, one of them dies due to some like homophobic demon or something.
That is crazy.
I don't know if that's correct, so don't quote me on that. And then
Supernaturals don't come on.
Yeah, sorry for spoiling Supernatural season like 15 or something. And then the show ends like 2 episodes later or something.
With those really bad wigs.
Yeah, that sounds right. Honestly, like, yeah, I don't even...
Yeah, that was a big day for Tumblr.
Oh, and then Doctor Who, they also shipped those 2 people.
Yeah, Watson and... No, that's Sherlock.
That's what I was thinking of. No, I think it is Sherlock that we're thinking of.
Sherlock Holmes and Watson, his little assistant.
Yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah, in terms of things like that, like most normal people would have no idea what we're talking about.
No.
Unless you were on Tumblr.
Yeah.
Then you're like, yeah, I saw that everywhere.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't want to see it, you saw it everywhere. Tumblr kind of like lost...
It was bought by Yahoo. Oh. And then they banned it.
Oh.
I think, yeah.
So they banned adult content essentially in 2018, which killed the platform. Which makes sense because things like Tumblr feminism and stuff was really based in different sexual and gender identities, and it was also very pro like sexual liberation, which obviously I've talked about that before and I'm not like really in agreement with that. But yeah, a lot of people made money on that platform through being sex workers. Yeah. So I mean, not really good for them if that was their form of income, and then they just banned it completely. But then they reversed the ban in like 2022 partially, but it obviously didn't fix anything.
Yeah,
because,
to try and revive it.
Yeah, everyone was already off Tumblr. So, but nowadays social media like TikTok and Instagram are probably the most popular ones, but they're less anonymous. And so expressing yourself fully or even asking questions that might be like stupid. I said that so meanly. Questions that might sound stupid, it's like potentially dangerous for you because you'll be met with targeted hate and even like potentially danger in real life as well.
Yeah.
I've posted like 3 videos on TikTok and I already had like 10 hate comments. I was like, okay. Like you can't win.
Yeah, I feel like with TikTok as well, like even though all of them are like social media platforms, I feel like TikTok like it just gets around quicker.
Yeah.
And like maybe quicker to the wrong crowd as well.
Yeah, you can end up on the wrong side.
Yeah.
With the algorithm so fast.
Yeah.
My sister was just talking about how an Abby Chatfield video was like, I think she posted about it as well, but so many people were mad about a video she just made. It was talking about how like her, I don't know if they're married or something, but her partner, like when she did the grocery shopping, she was like tired after grocery shopping and he ordered all her yogurts in the fridge by expiry date. And she was like, that's so nice. Like he just ordered all my yogurts. And like men in the comments are like, oh, so you expect men to like order all your yogurts in the fridge. And it's like, that wasn't the point of the video. The point of the video was that
he did something nice.
Yeah, and like she was saying in that video, we have equal domestic labor.
Yeah.
And that's why the relationship works.
Yeah. Because
we just do things for each other without it being transactional. And like, yeah, men were like, oh, this is what women want from us.
That's like...
to order yogurts in the fridge. But it wasn't a TikTok directed to men. It was directed to women to be like, there are men out here that are like, will treat you better.
They just take it like that tweet that's like, I hate when someone says, I like pancakes, and a bitch goes, oh, so you hate waffles?
Literally.
Like, that's literally what
like, that's every argument on the internet. Like, do you remember when I was arguing with that person like a few weeks ago about Lily Collins and surrogacy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what she was saying to me, but like, I didn't reply to her one comment about like, how do you know that she's taking advantage of her surrogate? And I was like,
because she got paid.
But also, I never said that. I was just saying surrogacy is bad. I wasn't saying Lily Collins forced this woman to be her surrogate. She goes to jail. Like, I didn't say that. I was just saying in a lot of cases, they take advantage of them.
And they kept being like, well, in Western countries. And we're like, we're in Australia. And they're like,
oh my God, no. Her argument was crazy. She was essentially saying that like things like blood banks and organ donations would not be able to exist if you didn't pay people for them. And I was like, yeah, we don't pay people for that in Australia because it's illegal. Same with medical research. You can only get like reimbursed for your time. You can't get actually paid for it. And she was like, yeah, if we didn't pay people for things, then all of these, they would just collapse Like, you wouldn't be able to have any of these things. And I'm like, yeah, we don't pay for them in Australia. And she was like, oh, I meant more in like capitalistic societies.
I'm like, what do you think? Do we just trade in Australia?
Do you think we live in villages and we trade in Australia? She was literally like, yeah, no, but America's like capitalistic, so it's different. I was like, huh? We have the same economy. The title of this episode has something to do with social justice warriors. I haven't decided what it is yet.
Okay.
But anyway, what's a social justice warrior?
What is it? Well, identifying as a feminist, environmentalist, and anti-racist in the 2010s wasn't always positive, and it was met with a lot of bullying and attacks from alt-right or conservative people.
Yeah, like even at the time, if you think of like Tumblr and how open it was on Tumblr, taking that into real life was like and we've had experience with that.
Yeah.
There was a tweet about, I mean, the reason I named this as episode about social justice warriorism was because there was a tweet from this user called I just saw the account name, Tony Hawk Truther. They said, I feel lucky that as an odd teenager who spent too much time online, I got sucked into Tumblr social justice warrior stuff instead of red pill MRA stuff. Don't know what MRA means.
Yeah, like the machine. Anyway.
Yeah, you mean MRI.
Oh.
Yeah, some of it is corny in retrospect, but overall it probably made me a better person than I otherwise would have been. Just my thoughts. And I was like, there was also another tweet about how we need to instantly bring back social justice warrior, like extremism. Yeah. We need to be woke. We need to include trigger warnings and everything in our tweets again, just in response to how bad politically things are right now. But in high school...
Oh my God, some law drop. Was this in year 12 or year 11?
No, it was like year 10.
Was it? I feel like we were kind of old.
Yeah,
it definitely wasn't year 12.
I think it was year 10.
So we were like 16 or something.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, in like a school of like 1,000 plus kids, there was maybe 1 or 2 black students.
Oh, yeah.
So keep that in mind. But I already knew at age 16, as a non-black person, not to say the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy thought. And so there was these guys in school. I don't remember what it was. I think, he said he was saying bye to another mate, and he said like, oh, bye, N-word.
There was literally an N-word epidemic.
Yeah.
And I think it was at...
I feel like it came out of nowhere.
It was at like so many schools though, because it was a thing online.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But I posted on my like spam account being like, imagine being so stupid that you are not a black person, you think that you can say the N-word. Like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And I forgot that, like, one of the mates, like, followed me on the account. That's kind of on me. But they, like, screenshotted it and, like, sent it to, like, their boys group chat, which, keep in mind, I remember, was called Alphas, which that's another story to divulge. They added me to the group chat.
Why did they add you? Like, I still don't understand.
And I don't know if they didn't realize that I could see like their entire message history from the day that group chat was made. But yeah, just talking shit about their own friends.
Yeah, you started screenshotting like their whole group
chat.
I
literally screen recorded like, I still have it somewhere.
Yeah.
And they were like, they were spamming the N-word in it. And like, I don't think they realized that like, that doesn't affect me. I'm just not a dick about it.
No, that's the thing, because at school as well, they would yell it at us.
Yeah, and I'm like,
do you realize that that's not an offensive term to me? I'm just saying that you shouldn't be saying it.
Yeah. And then they had a sook and they were like, can you please leave the group chat?
Because they couldn't figure out how to get you.
I was like, why did none of you block me? Because it would instantly kick me out of the
No, they didn't know how to use Instagram, clearly.
Yeah, so I screen recorded all this stuff and I was like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Maybe, but to be fair, it kind of worked. Like, they never said, at least to me, which still sucks because...
Oh, they absolutely were saying it, and some of them still are to this day that I know of. And I said this in my last episode where I was like, I'm expected to now just be, like, friends with these guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't forgive them for doing these things because I never got an apology. Yeah. I mean, not about the N-word, but, like, about other things that they did to us. Yeah. And the amount of awful, like, things that they said. And I've also been in their Discord servers before. I don't even want to repeat some of the things I've seen in there. I'm pretty sure they had a channel where it was literally just, like, gore. or like something like even like pornographic gore in one of their channels, and that's all that was in there. Just, I never said anything in this Discord, by the way. I don't even know why I was in it, but like, and like there was never an apology for any of these things that they were doing. It's like, why would I just be nice to these guys now? Because I know that they're still the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they just like mask it because they have girlfriends now. Ooh.
Oh, who said that?
So yeah, that was my story.
Read the term social justice warrior. There was an article in
Foundation of Economic Education
by Abigail Herbst titled How the Term Social Justice Warrior Became an Insult. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a social justice warrior is a derogatory term for a person who expresses or promotes socially progressive views. So when you hear like social justice warrior, it kind of sounds like a positive thing. To me, I'm like, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But calling someone that implies that they're unreasonable, hostile, and self-interested internet user with a progressive agenda, akin to the term snowflake, essentially. Pre-2011, though, the term was rarely used, but generally if it was in a positive way. In 2011 was the first usage of the term as an insult on Twitter, essentially to describe people who engaged in social justice debates for inauthentic reasons, like for social points or making people think that they're a good person without actually caring about the people involved or doing anything that would actually help them, instead just having like arguments with people on Twitter or something. And in 2014, I don't actually really know about this scandal, the Gamergate scandal.
Yeah,
like I've heard about it, but I don't really know too much about it. It became mainstream in 2014 amid the Gamergate scandal, which centered around ethics in gaming journalism and the role of women in the gaming industry, which has always been predominantly men. Even if like not necessarily men play more games than women.
Yeah.
It's just like their circles are very like games based. Opponents of the Gamergate accused the gaming industry of collaborating to oppress women in the industry, essentially. So that's where the term emerged. Like all of these like, what are they called? Like gamer guys who hated women would just start calling them social justice warriors for like wanting equality in the gaming industry. Back then, even though it could have been for the wrong reasons though, people were still extremely active online about social justice reasons, and they would like actively debate people.
Yeah.
And it would be like kind of an equal debate as well. Like it was less polarized. And even if it was like because you wanted people to think you were a better person, you were still doing it. And then eventually, like from doing that for so long, you would develop those ideas like actually and be able to get into it in a way that you understand why these things happen and like how to fight them. Yeah. And that was also like hand in hand with things like trigger warnings and what's that other one where they give like a tone indicator?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like things like that.
Sarcastic.
Yeah, like
Serious.
slash sarcastic slash like joke or whatever.
If you have an education insight, you can read a good article.
This article was in Feminist Media Studies titled Attack of the 50-Foot Social Justice Warrior, the Discursive Construction of Social Justice Warrior Memes as the Monstrous Feminine. I only could read the abstract because I didn't have access to it, but essentially it considers the origin and the meaning of SJWs. Even though it seems like it could be a positive term, it's generally deployed in alt-right communities and implies a kind of woman who's like monstrous and like anti-feminine, not anti-feminist, and like just used in a misogynistic way against women, who like kind of making it seem like they don't actually know what they're talking about. Like they're just spewing stuff online that they've just heard other people say. So probably a good article, but unfortunately I can't read it.
Yeah. Gosh, and this leads us to everyone's favorite uncancelled gamer, PewDiePie, and the memification of hate. I think a TikTok by Pink Bins.
Yeah.
Did a really good little video on it.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes long or something. And I was literally, I feel like I'd been thinking of this for so long, but like she actually put it so well. I was like, oh my God, like that's exactly what the issue is.
Yeah. But essentially blaming PewDiePie for what happened in at the inauguration and the allowance of someone like Elon Musk to be in such a high position, and the way that she knew public perception of things like anti-Semitism and legit Nazism was changing, was because of how PewDiePie was allowed to act with no repercussions.
Like, do you remember how he was on YouTube?
Yeah.
I mean,
like, was he streaming or he must?
Oh, do you mean when he said the N-word?
Yeah, and like all the other things.
Yeah.
Later.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Like, I think most of the time it was probably during streams. Yeah. When he said the N-word and had no one cared.
Yeah. And he was just like, sorry.
Yeah. Essentially, this TikToker was saying that, like, how that she knew that we were, like, going into a crisis of, like, fascism was in that time, like, jokes and things not being taken seriously.
Yeah.
Because at the same time that there was been so much progress made in, like, some sides of the internet, it was also, like,
times two on the other side.
Edgelords on the other side.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, what year this was, like, maybe 2017 to 2019.
Yeah.
Around then.
Yeah.
He literally would just genuinely say that he was a Nazi as a joke.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And his entire audience, meanwhile, 12-year-old and younger boys, I watched him too, but it didn't turn me into a Nazi because I mean, at the time, I actually did think he was joking, and I think it was, like, dark humor was such a thing then that people 100%. Were just like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like because everyone was so... Or, like... progressive ideas were so, like, current. When someone's joking about this, you assume that they're, like, actually well informed on it and, like, making a joke about it, which still isn't okay, but, like, back then I was like, oh, like, he's just kidding, whatever.
And he got away with it because who's the other YouTuber that's, like, really weird now?
There's so many.
What's his name? It sounds like Onion, but it's not.
Oh, Onision?
Yes, that guy.
There were quite a few of them.
That's crazy. But I think PewDiePie kind of got away with it because he was arguably the biggest.
Yeah.
He had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he was still friends with, like, the big British YouTube. Even though they never, like... They were in the same circles, but they didn't do the same videos and stuff like that. But people knew that they were all friends. So they must have been like, oh, like, it's so obvious he's joking. Yeah. He's friends with all these, like, people that we watch.
And also, like... I watched him. Yeah. And I know, like, so many other girls who watched him as well.
Yeah.
Also probably because he was, like, semi-attractive, so he just, like, got away with things. But also the reason it didn't turn me into a Nazi was because I was socialized as a woman.
Yeah.
And I could tell that, like, this kind of oppression wasn't, like, okay. But when your whole audience is 8-year-old white boys, they're not really taking the jokes as jokes, they're taking them as serious. Yeah. He would literally say, I mean, I don't even want to say this, but, like, K-word, all Jews, and, like, do Nazi salutes as a joke. And at that point, like, it did feel like a joke because, like, it was so obvious that no one would actually be a Nazi. Yeah, I mean, it made, like, that era made it seem like dark humor jokes were okay to make because it was so obvious that they were jokes.
Yeah.
And, like, he was making all these jokes and there was some, like, media pushback, like, Disney cut ties with him.
Yeah, he lost some sponsorships.
Yeah, but his audience didn't care, mostly because they were, like, all teenage boys. And people who weren't teenage boys were like, oh, he's just kidding.
Yeah.
And they could understand that, like, he was supposedly making a joke, even though, like, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But also the fact that he's from Sweden.
Yeah.
Sweden literally bordering Germany, and he's making jokes about Nazism. If you were, like, an American YouTuber, maybe you could be like, I don't really know, like, the history. Even then, like, you should probably
it's kind of crazy.
But, like... When I was a teenager, I probably didn't know much about World War II or, like, Hitler.
Yeah, outside of class, probably not.
Yeah. Like, how... I probably didn't know, like, much about it.
Yeah.
But when you're from Sweden, I think you're probably learning a little bit more in school than we are. You would expect someone from Europe to know the gravity of making jokes like this.
Well, because it's illegal in some countries, like...
Yes.
How would you, like... It's a joke, guys.
Literally.
Don't arrest me. But yeah, he also almost single-handedly pushed being an edgelord at the time of being just racist, Nazi, misogynistic, everything that we were saying before as dark humor. Yeah,
to be honest, like, at the time, most of the, like, his audience, like, the boys acting this way online, like, being edgelords and stuff, and graffitiing swastikas and things like that, they weren't actually, like, really, like,
No, they probably didn't even know what half of it, like,
no, they probably
really
didn't
meant.
even know what, like, Judaism was.
Yeah.
Like, it was just that they were, like, following what this guy online was saying. It was more so just going way too far in the name of satire, when it's like, when you're making jokes about things, it's actually not funny unless you can do it in, like, the right way, or, like, you can joke about things that are okay to be joked about.
Yeah.
But, like, you can't just, like, do an artsy slur and be like, just kidding, guys.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. Even though, like, people will be like, oh, but, like, it's not his fault, like, he was just doing whatever. It's not his fault
like,
that,
you
like...
need to manage what you consume online.
Yeah, but it's like, these young boys who were, like, 8 watching him grew up into actual terrorists. There was this Australian 28-year-old guy. You probably heard about the Christchurch mosque shootings, which was live streamed on Facebook, caused the death of 51 people and injuries to 89. Before he committed the shooting, he said subscribe to PewDiePie.
And that was that when he had the big, like, him versus the Indian company?
It was around the same time as well.
Yeah. So he was actively making videos, PewDiePie. And yeah, literally a terrorist attack.
Yeah. The guy that did it, he got super involved with white supremacy in right-wing spaces, like, globally. He had traveled to Europe, and the countries that he'd visited had actually done, like, an investigation into him because they thought that he'd contacted, like, extremist white supremacist groups. And he was quoted as saying he got his inspiration from 4chan and YouTube. He also cited one of his reasons for the shooting was because of the murder of an 11-year-old girl in Stockholm in 2017. Like, you can't fucking use the murder of a young girl as an excuse to kill 4 more women in a mosque.
Yeah.
Like, yes, most of the people in the mosque were men, but, like, you killed 4 more women and then you cited the killing of a girl.
Also, men in New Zealand somehow responsible for the murder of a girl in Stockholm. Like, what's the link between that?
No, literally. Most of the people that he killed were born in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then there were, like, a plethora of other countries that these people had come from.
Yeah.
And, like, genuinely, what is that doing? And then this was also, you would hope that it would be a wake-up call to PewDiePie to do a huge apology.
Yeah.
Because he literally has blood on his hands. Like,
Yeah.
when he's inspired people to become terrorists and kill 50 people, like, that's on you.
Yeah.
And now he's rebranded.
No, his rebrand.
Oh my God, his rebrand. He has, like, a son. He's, like, a family man and he lives in Japan, of course, with his trad wife, Marzia. Like, I guess he couldn't have predicted how, like, this dark humor would have affected people watching it. But, like...
He just never said anything about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, a whole different thing.
Yeah, and it's like... You're the adult here.
Yeah.
You should know that people watching your videos, like, weren't gonna take that all as a joke. And I'm pretty sure he was actually just right wing.
Yeah.
And,
that
like,
wouldn't
just
surprise me.
yeah, like, he took it too far and then turned into an actual, like, right winger. It's like, you can't keep joking about something and not become what you're joking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the T-series thing, which you were talking about,
Yeah.
that literally fueled so much hate against Indian people.
Yeah, the racism, like, I'd want to see the stats on that because that was crazy.
Yeah, it was essentially, like, I think they were racing each other to 100 million subscribers.
Yeah.
T-Series is, like, an Indian channel that...
It was like a production company. I
think. Like, Darman coded.
Yeah.
And he would make, like... He made, like, a rap song.
It was like a diss track.
A diss track to T-Series.
But very, like, stereotypical
So racist. Yeah.
Which is crazy because, like, there are a lot of Indian migrants in England.
Is that where he was living?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that he was doing that in a country where there was a lot of people of that race as well.
The amount of jokes at that time as well about, like... I don't even want to repeat them. Like,
no, they were so bad.
Like, just towards Indian people. Like, he started, like, genuinely a, like, re-emergence of racism against Indian people.
I think he got away with it because T-Series was, like, a company.
Yeah.
Like, if he was doing that against, like, a singular person, they would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like, also his wife. Oh, my God. Like, you need to get away from that man.
No, like, it makes me so sad when she posted a video about... Because I used to watch her.
Yeah, so did
How
I.
she... is leaving YouTube because like she found out, she thinks that it's like not really her passion.
Yeah.
But that was like the exact same time when they were planning to move to Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think she posted a video, I think it might have been on Instagram or something, where she was showing her day and it was literally just like try to wife propaganda.
oh.
Like she was like setting up a camera, like it was so like aesthetic, her and her son. She baked like a cake to give to her neighbors. I'm like,
girl.
okay, so propaganda.
Yeah.
And then women watching that will be like, oh, I want to do this. I want to be able to just like stay at home and then like bake for my neighbors. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's not how a normal relationship works.
Yeah.
Because
But she was making money before that.
exactly.
Like
She has so much money. Neither of them need to work. And that's how she can do that. Like, you're like a normal working class woman. You also have to work at this usually because a man can't get an income to support both of you anymore.
different story for another podcast.
No, literally. The reason that like PewDiePie doing all of this was such an issue was because now when we see Elon Musk do the same thing, like Nazi salutes, talking at that like rally in Germany or whatever.
Oh my god.
It's more damaging because no one is going to drop Tesla, Meta, or X. And the reason he's been allowed to act this way is because of a generation growing up on content by people like PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Which through satire, like things that are supposedly jokes but are actually just white supremacy. How is PewDiePie pushing political ideas in America?
No, it's
That's
scary.
a Swedish man.
Yeah.
Where's Elon Musk from? Not America. Like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
And I feel like now, normal, in quotes, normal men are like voting for fascism, even when it would usually just be like rednecks.
Yeah.
Or people in states who don't have access to that kind of education and knowledge.
Yeah.
But it's men from big cities who are voting for Trump. Mm-hmm. It's like typically you wouldn't be seeing that, but it's because they've been grown up on all this like red pill.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So anyway, blame PewDiePie for everything
Yeah.
wrong with the world currently. Yeah.
That's our final statement. Mm-hmm. It's his fault.
Oh. Also, we were like big fans of the Sidemen
Yeah.
in 2017.
When did they?
2017.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I remember I said that at school once. Worst man I've ever met in my life. Do you remember this?
They like flocked to
Yeah, they were
us.
like, oh my god, which girl just said they like the Sideman? Like, I'm gonna marry her. And then I was like,
Actually, I never said anything ever.
I was like, can you take that back? I didn't say
I honestly
anything.
don't even know how we stumbled. It was
Oh, I
probably
do.
'cause I'm scared.
We were reading a fan fiction and they brought him in as a character.
Oh, yeah.
They brought in one of the Sidemen
Yeah.
as character and that's how we found out who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, at that time when we like, I think it was just before, but KSI used to have this thing called the rape face. Do you remember that?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess he was
Yeah.
allowed to get away with it because, like, he played characters of being, like, a big, scary black guy.
Yeah.
Which, in turn, is already
Just an
scary
awful
to normal.
stereotype.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had this thing called a rape face, which was like a common occurrence on his channel in like 2016 or something. And nowadays, like, I feel like they always like talked really bad about women and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, because I didn't know that was such a bad thing to do. Like, I was watching them and I was like, whatever, like, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
But even like, like 2025, they still have the same jokes about women.
Yeah.
And like, I was watching their videos up until like 2023 probably. And then like recently I can't even like get through like 2 seconds because I'm like, they make some like awful like racist or misogynistic joke. And it's like, bro, it's literally 2025.
I think they could get away with it because they were like young at the time. They were like young. Like a lot of them either just went to college or like were finishing up with university or just didn't go to university. So they were just doing videos. But they have the same humor that they did when they had the excuse of being young.
Like literally grow up.
Yeah.
They're getting married. Two of them have kids or just one?
One has a kid, one has one on the way.
Oh, yes. The one of them that has the kid is the worst man alive.
Yeah.
He was on a podcast talking about how he thinks all women should take their husband's name
Oh.
with his girlfriend in the video that he impregnated without marriage. And
And this man doesn't have a father in his life.
oh, yeah.
So, a bit rich coming from him.
No, literally.
But,
Like, where's your dad then?
yeah. All right.
Like, yeah, anyway. Like we grew up on all of that content and we still didn't turn into like crazy Nazis.
Yeah, because we socialized or just like consumed other bits of media.
Yeah, like we didn't like fall down a rabbit hole of like misogyny.
Yeah, I think that's...
I mean, obviously because we're women, but also like, how can you not like consume a variety of media and think, maybe I shouldn't be a Nazi?
Yeah, or just like critically think about the things that you're consuming.
Literally. Anyway.
Bring back social justice warriors.
In 2025.
Yeah.
That is our goal with this video. Be as woke as possible.
Yep.
Bring back be that friend that's too woke.
Yeah.
Every time I see that meme that's like that friend that's too woke, I'm like, wait, but I agree.
Yeah, they're right.
They're always right. Like be so woke. Start using tone indicators, trigger warnings, everything. Be so woke.
Yeah.
Just as a reaction to Elon Musk-ism.
Yeah.
I love that ism.
And save his child. Save that man's child.
Wait, the trans one?
No, the one that he like paraded as
like
a
my
little,
God.
Like...
Yeah, speaking of that, imagine a woman being in the office and having a child on her shoulders.
Oh.
She would literally get like...
She'd be like, get sent back to the kitchen. Comments.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, oh, you're abusing your child.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And where's the child now? Nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, he probably only sees it at the White House.
Yeah.
Anyway, we thank you for listening diligently to our episode. Honestly, you probably didn't even learn that much from this episode.
Yeah,
but it was
we just talked about
interesting
us.
Conversation. Like, honestly though, like with the way social media was going, it was not hard to predict politically how that was going to have an effect.
Yeah, yeah.
So
stay woke.
# stay woke in 2025.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next week. But you won't see Vicky.
Bye.
She's just a guest.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.